Approved. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Dear listeners, Alhamdulillah, we have come back with another episode of Connect, Communicate and Connect for our Marriage Matrix series.
Assalamu alaikum, and I'm Zara, your host, coach, and therapist. I'm with Shanaz here, and we will discuss all the dynamics about how the marriage works. And today's episode is all about, are you ready for marriage?
And when we say, are you ready? We mean everyone in the family. How does everyone prepare to get ready? You're ready in the sense that, oh, you've seen the girl and you like her and you've got butterflies in your stomach and everything is nice. But what about the other things? Have you thought about the other things? Have you thought about the expense that is going to be involved? Have you thought about the living arrangements? Have you thought about someone else coming and sharing your home with you? As a parent, have you thought about, if your child is going to leave and you will have an empty nest at home? So we're going to cover are you ready for every person within the household,
Yeah.
Zara?
Yeah, exactly. So we and me and Shanaz actually discussed that we divide this readiness into three parts. The first part is the emotional readiness. Second part is the spiritual readiness, and the third part is the financial readiness for the bride, groom, and the parents and the all extended family from both sides, like siblings and friends and cousins and everyone. So, Shanaz, I will ask you, as you said that as an appearance you are ready, or as a person you are ready. What do you mean, and what is your experience about the emotional readiness?
I think we always seem to think our child is now 20 something and they're ready to get married. Now, Alhamdulillah, we want our children to be ready to be married at that age because it's a nice young age and it's nice for children to get their lives moving forward. But the child might not be on the same page as the parent. So we have to ask the child, are you ready for the responsibility? To have another person come into your home that you are going to have the main responsibility for. Are you ready for that? So that person is going to share your space, it's going to share your room. You are financially responsible for them. If they're coming from a different town, they may not have a job when they first come to live with you. So financially, you would have to support them.
Mm-hmm.
Emotionally, are you strong enough to support somebody else? How are you with conflicts? Because when someone else comes to live with you, another person, you will always have something that needs, resolving. Uh,
Exactly.
how is the child with resolving conflict? Is the child able to balance the relationships between sibling, parent, and the new spouse? So we have
Exactly.
to, we usually try and go through that with the parents. That is that something that you've thought of? And most of the time it's not, because they just think, oh, the child's going to get married, everything's going to be wonderful. We're going to have talkies, we're going to have color this, and we're going to have lights on the house, and that's the only thing that they're really focused on,
Yeah.
not on how are you going to cope.
Yeah, exactly. That's you are spot on this point, and I will just pick up on the emotional readiness first, and I will say that what is the emotional readiness means as in a personal growth. That are you? How do you handle the stress? How do you handle the conflict? How do you handle the personal relationship? Do you remain calm if there or you get easily overwhelmed? Both boys and girls, girls overwhelmed show by crying on everything, boys overwhelmed shown by getting angry on anything. So
Mm,
here it comes the communication that's we are doing here, tell you that learn how to communicate your needs and your values and your all aspects of your life, because the person who is joining you today in your life, you might not know them really well,
exactly.
because if
Yeah.
it's an arranged marriage, there is only few meetings you have.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
will live together and learn about each other.
Mhm.
How you're going to learn about each other? By communicating. And
Exactly.
then is that I will say the most important value or most important point of emotional readiness is that how ready you are to compromise.
Mm.
Because
And
both of you are unique,
mhm,
because both of you are come from a different household with a different set of strategies or values or dreams even, and the goals for the future. So are you ready to compromise with each other?
mm,
Because you are not going to given a manual, you are not going to given a, what does it call that, tick boxing. There is no
mm,
tick boxing, it's
mm,
life.
mm.
It
This is
happens.
this is
It comes
the
in front of you. Things come in front of you where you
mm,
have to both, and the family and the parents
mm,
have to
yeah.
compromise in some extent onto some areas of the, your areas of where the newness come.
This is this is vital points of communication. But we seem to think that everything's going to fall into place. Everything's going to be okay. We are, everything is going to fall into place. We're all going to be okay. It doesn't matter. And a lot of parents, I think, as a ummah, as a community, as a Pakistani community, we have this thing about, oh, we'll deal with that when it happens. And then when it happens, it's usually a bit difficult to deal with. And therefore, we all sort of like, everything goes pear-shaped. So these are the things that we really need to look at is everybody ready for that communication? Even
Yeah,
with the parents, we need to look at, are they ready for the communication, or are they like, I'm the boss of the house, everything has to be like I say it's going to be? And that's not going to work with someone else's child, because someone else's child is coming to live with you, but it doesn't mean that they are going to follow your rules. So that's one thing that we need to speak specifically with people first, that at home this is how we live, because two families are going to live totally different. Like some people will have time limits, when you can come in, when you can leave the house, how you leave the kitchen before you go to bed. Other people's it will be totally different.
exactly. And that is why I use the word we all unique. Parents are
Mm,
unique,
mm,
children are unique as well. You don't have the three children in your home the same nature.
mm,
And you sometimes don't even control or communicate properly to your own child. So how
exactly.
do you expect that, the one person come just to your house, know your habits in 1 day, 2 day, 10 days? We can't even know a person for a year of the time.
Mm,
We learn every day a new thing about someone,
mm,
unless we told them clearly, like, unless we tell them, like, if I am the mother-in-law and I tell my child, like, this time I like to be the quietness in the house, this time I like to be
yeah.
the food is
Mhm.
being done so we can have all the food together,
Yeah.
or this
And
this
we eat
time
at
I
this time,
this
yes,
time
yeah.
or this time I have a commitment to meet someone, be available, not just like, break everything, stop everything. We are
Mhm,
going there.
mhm,
Somebody is coming
mhm,
and ruin other person's plans.
mhm.
So if you
Yes.
communicate on the time
Mhm, mhm,
and
yeah,
in a proper manner, then
yeah.
things will not be go in that kind of
Mm.
dynamics where the conflicts happen.
Also, with the females, we have, I think they need to be looking at this, is how are you going to manage living away from home? Have you lived away from home in the past?
Mm,
If you have, then the dynamics of that family are going to be different from the dynamics of your family. You may
exactly.
come from a two-adult, two-child family. They may be a two-adult, six-children family.
Yeah.
So it's, how are you going to cope with all the extra people? And it is difficult to cope with if you're only used to having one sibling and then you've suddenly got five, sibling in-laws to be dealing with. Is that going to be something that you're going to be okay with? Also, the parents, if the child is living with them, then obviously they've got to consider all the things that we have spoken about. If the child is not going to live with them, then, how are they going to be, especially if it's an only child, how are they going to be on if left to them, left to on their own. And
Mm.
this is where parents need to look at their own lives and think, well, do I have a life away from my children? Do I have a life if my child has moved away? They may be moving away for job reasons, they whatever it is. If they've moved away, how am I coping on my own? So this is,
Exactly. And
mm,
that's a very important point, that how you are going to live your life, because your child have another person in their life,
yeah,
and they are going we all have 12 hours in the day, 8 a.m. to
mm,
8 p.m.
mm,
In that we are going to do job, we are going to eat, we are going to cook, we is only left with the 3 hours. In that 3 hours, that child is have a spouse,
mm, yeah,
like
exactly.
groom or the bride, like boy or the girl. And if you think that 3 hours they are already not spending with you when they are not married,
Yeah, and they
you have
don't,
to
they're
be
at the
really
gym.
clear
Yeah,
about that.
exactly. Yeah.
That time they are not spending with you already, but
Mm,
why do you expect after the getting married they have to spend 2 hours downstairs with you, which they
mm,
never did in their life?
exactly. Yeah.
And you, because you think, okay, now there is another person in the home, we have to sit down and talk, like we are having a party or something like that, so we all sit down together and talk and have
Uh,
fun. And this is not going to happen, this can't happen once in a week, this can happen once in a month.
yeah.
They have their
Mm,
own weekend plans, they are the
mm,
young couple. You have to have
exactly.
your own plans as well.
You
Or you
have
have to
to.
have something else into your life
And
where you
this is,
can divert your attention.
yeah, and this
Do
is where the
We are
women,
in the UK, do some community work.
yeah, do something. Women really need to focus on themselves. And, it's not just about, oh, they're getting married. It's about, what about you? What are you going to be doing? And we have a lot of course, we have a lot of single sisters as well who have children, and that child is going to get married and you are going to be on your own. So what are you going to be doing with your life? Have you
Exactly.
thought about that? And then we
And
have the,
plan about it, I will
yeah, have you
say.
planned about your life on your own, solo living? And then sometimes they're like, oh, I can't live without my child. Oh, we have to live together forever. And that sometimes puts people off right at the beginning. So marriages do not take place because they think, well, the girl, it's your son, you love him, you want to live with him forever. Now with the girl, she just wants a husband. Does she want the mother-in-law to live with her forever? It may work, and you may start off living together, and that's fine. But always be open-minded, always be aware that things are going to change, that their dynamics are going to change, the son is going to have children, and then you may be left on your own. So always do things for yourself. So this is for women. I think it's a special lesson that you really need to have a life of your own as well. Don't
Mm.
just, pander your life around your children and think this is everything.
Exactly.
It's
And
going to change.
that's where I want to add that, as you mentioned, the single woman or the single parent household, where they are just, their life is just revolved around the child, and child is moved on emotionally, and because there is someone else is more important into their life. And
Mhm,
that is a similar way that when you are younger and you want to spend the only, like you have only 2 3 hours in the day, and they
mhm,
want to spend it together because it's their life.
mhm.
So find something which is meaningful for you.
For you, exactly.
You need to understand as a woman or a
Mhm,
man that you spend all of your 20 30 years of the life.
mhm,
You grow up, you get married in your 20s or 30s, then you raise up a child who is now 20, between 20 to 30. That
mhm.
person is get married, you are around 50 or 60.
Which is
And
not old, which is really not old these days. You've got lots
yeah,
of life
no,
left.
but what I'm
Mhm,
saying that this is what you have to think about, that
mhm,
you never think about yourself.
mhm.
You
Exactly.
never lived your own life.
Yeah.
So plan
Mhm,
and think about that, how you are going to live your life.
exactly.
God
And
give
then,
you that chance as well. God
and
doesn't give you that chance to impose your point of views and ideas of how to live their life. Why don't you put that ideas onto yourself?
mhm.
How to live your
And
life? This is your
yeah,
life as well, right?
yeah, exactly. We all have to live, and we might as well enjoy it while we're doing it.
If we
But
if we
also,
plan it,
yeah, inshallah. And
inshallah.
also the siblings. How
Mm-hmm.
are they ready to have someone move in with them? Are they ready to, have an extra person who they may not get on with because obviously personalities are different?
Mm.
Do they want someone else coming to live with them? Now, their sibling, their brother, or well, usually the brother because the girl comes to live with you, is their brother going to be spending as much time as he was with his siblings in the past? Are they going to be having movie nights? Are they going to be going out to play football together? Is that all going to continue? So the siblings need to have a little, a think about, are they ready to let go as well?
And I think
Mm,
I will add here, Shanaz, that the siblings are already mentally prepared. They
mhm,
already go into the different directions.
mhm,
Nowadays, children does not that much of the clingy to the
mhm,
siblings.
mhm,
They give the space because they are the children of nowadays. They are the children, right?
mhm,
They give the space. They are not that clingy like
mhm.
as previously. But this is the difference happen. And
This
I
is
think from here we just let's move to the our next point, which is the
it's
spiritually readiness.
Can
What
I
is the
just
spiritual
go back,
readiness
just
is?
clear that point? Just just one thing to add. We
Mm-hmm.
believe, we feel, we want the siblings to be different and to move on, but it doesn't always happen because I have had lots of people where things have gone wrong because of the siblings. So it's a point where we can probably discuss it at a later
Mm.
stage. But
Okay.
let's move on to the next thing. Yes,
Yeah.
carry. Please do carry on.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, so I'm leaving for before closing this. So emotionally ready means that do you know your triggers? If there is any trauma happened in your life, do you know how to take responsibility of your own emotions? And if you are not aware of all these things, you can go and have some coaching or therapy session to be more aware of and more self-reflective. And let's go on to the spiritually ready. So, what do I understand about the spiritually ready, and what does Shanaz experience is the being spiritually ready? Let's ask Shanaz first.
I think spiritually ready is something that people very seldom focus on. I think if they are led, sometimes they are led to believe that spiritually ready means to have a certain level of religiosity in your life. So for with our people, it's like, yes, we're all on the same page. I'm a good Muslim. He's a good Muslim. She's a good Muslim. We're all good Muslims. So we're spiritually, in that sense, we are ready. Now, another sort of like side to that is when we marry people who are probably not the same religion as us. And a lot of the time, our children who will marry out of the religion are probably the children that are not very religious themselves, which is fine. Inshallah, one day they will come back to the religion, and maybe this person that they are marrying, they will, follow the religion as well. But I think with spiritually being ready, it's very broad, and we seem to not really know the meaning of spiritually ready. In my opinion, this is how I have found it to be, that spiritually ready is very broad. Not many people are linked with they don't focus on this, they don't ask about this, they don't work on this. Now, it would
Yeah.
be really interesting to have your opinion on this.
So here I will say that, from my point of view, that spiritually ready means that how much, what kind of relationship you have with the God. It's all personal because that's Allah Ta'ala say that, I am the one who is going to reward whatever, whatever kind of faith or actions you have. And we as a human beings being judgmental and judging people onto their actions is little bit basically giving other person a less space. And as you said that that the spirituality is very broad, but I will say that here there comes a part of the compromise, giving other person the space to become a good Muslim by the time, because everyone have the that deeper knowledge of the deen, maybe not into the early age, in the middle age, in the later age. And that is how maybe, Allah Ta'ala give us the Sunnah and the Quran, and our Prophet just tell us how to live the life. And
Mhm.
in that life, they tell us by doing the action, not
Mm,
only the preaching. If
mm,
you are a good Muslim, if you are the your level of the goodness, and you show that sila rehmi, you show that ikhlaq, you show that honesty, you show that promise keeping, you show that truthfulness in the relationship, then the other person reflect that same values,
mm.
and
This is,
that values
yeah.
is the part of the spirituality. But
Mhm,
if in your family you said that you backbite, which is
mhm,
forbidden,
mhm,
you hurt other person, then that is not the spirituality, that is not the deen,
mm. Yeah.
right? And if you lie, you do something else outside, you will say something else to someone, you say something to your spouse. This is lie. This is not the deen. This is not the spirituality. These
Mhm,
things that, hakukul ibad is are more important in that part of the spirituality rather
mhm.
than the hakuk Allah. We all do the hakuk Allah, and we are that practicing in hakukul ibad. And in
I
the
think
relationships,
I th
Hakukul Ibad
yeah.
come first.
I think it would be fair to say that we don't do any hukuks. It's with the community that we live in. May Allah make us more, spiritually aware and increase our religiosity.
Mm-hmm.
But majority of the time, these things are, like I said at the beginning, they're overlooked. And the level of religiosity, I mean, to me, if you're, spiritual, you will have studied the deen, you know what your deen is asking for. But a lot of the time, I feel that a lot of people do not study the deen. And for the past 5 years, no, yeah, about 5 years now, we have had this new, in the profile, you have what's what. We've had this new little paragraph come up which says, do you have khatams? And if you do not, then obviously there's a different group of people. And if you do, there's a different group of people. And those two groups of people, even though they're both Muslims, they both follow the teachings of the Prophet ﷺ, they both believe in the kalima, they will not want to marry each other. Now, reason being, the people that do the Quran Hanis, do the milads, they say that, oh, we are going to die, and this lot are not going to send us any suwab. They're not going to draw the, kuch nahi pichu bhejan lage. Now, the other lot, the ones that do not have these things, do not celebrate milads and do not have Quran Hanis, they say, well, we will die and our progeny will fall into bid'ah because these things are from bid'ah. Now, both groups, they have their little, they both believe they're right. Personally, I just think, with the children, they're probably not, they're probably not even thinking about these things. Why are you preventing your children from getting married because of your views and opinions with regards to religion when you haven't studied the religion, when you are when you are following things blindly? So it's really, really slippery slope, the level of religiosity. You can call it spirituality. It's really slippery slope. I find it's a very, very slippery slope, and it can be the make or the break of a couple, which is very sad, because if we believe we're Muslims, regardless of what kind of Muslim they are,
Yeah.
are we?
I totally agree with you, Shanaz. These things are, I will say these things start happening in last 25 years. When
Mm,
you get married, when I get married, when my parents get married, there is nothing called like that.
no.
In my home, my mother was, we see that al hadith,
Mhm,
right? She go all about what is in hadith. My father used to
mhm,
be that who believes in all kind of in khatam darud, everything.
mhm,
But my mother cook, she live a
mhm.
happy life
Yeah, exactly. You can do, you can both be
because
together and
they
you can
want
live.
they know how to compromise.
Yes.
Earlier the what they said that that person is the same clan.
Mhm,
In that same clan you have different kind of faith, what does it call that, follow this different sects,
mhm,
but you are in the same clan.
Yeah.
So you are in the same clan, no matter what you follow, you
Mm-hmm.
live together.
Mm-hmm.
Now the children or the parents, you don't go into the clans, you don't want to the cousin marriage. You
Mm-hmm.
cross one big thing,
Mm-hmm.
or the parents cross one big thing because they think we lose our siblings or blah blah blah,
Mm-hmm.
right? Then you put one extra thing into it. These are not that sects,
Mm-hmm. There you go. Mm-hmm.
right? Then you put an extra one thing that is not like what is it called?
Mm-hmm.
All the like face value things. How much
Exactly.
money, how much beauty, how much smartness, how much cleverness, what they are bringing, what they are giving, how they are living. Like not only the basic, you make the basic difficult. You put some the extra cherries on the cake,
Mm-hmm.
and you want the full-fledged 11 tier cake.
Mm-hmm.
That is the difficulty. That is why we are here to tell you, people, please change yourself unless we move on to our third point.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that is the financial point. What do you think about that? What people's point of view about the finances?
I think with the finances, it's again a slippery slope because with
Mhm.
finances, like for instance, a parent, two parents, two child family, the parents usually take care of the finances, and the children are quite happy to do whatever they like with their income. Now, with the new person coming in, the family dynamics is going to change. So, how are you going to cope with the change? Who is going to compensate for the change? This is where it gets quite interesting. People don't normally discuss this. So you always say to them, is your daughter working? Yes, she is. Okay, then how are you going to run your finances? Because sometimes the in-laws, I think we briefly touched on this last week, that they have a pot and they expect everybody to put into that pot, and they deal with all their all whatever they're doing at that time. Now, if, for instance, that pot, if it's obviously it's filled, it's used, it's filled, it's used, it's filled, it's used. Now, when it comes for the time for the girl and the boy to, let's say, buy a house or make a big purchase, if by that time you're not, everybody's not contributing to that pot, that's where the problems begin. So we have quite there's lots of different things that people discuss with finances. Of course, with the thing we discussed last week about the mortgage, where the child was saying to his to-be wife that, I want you to contribute towards my dad's mortgage.
Yeah,
And then we found out that no, the house wasn't going to go to these two. It was going to be split equally between all the siblings. So
yeah,
these things have to be discussed, and finances are very, very important. And this is what I find about finances is that people don't realize how important they are, and they don't discuss them. They think, no, no, everything will be fine. But you really need to discuss the finances, because if a girl is earning good money, sometimes she might be earning more than the young lad, more than the son. So if she gonna contribute so like on a big level to the whole family. Sometimes people say to the girl, you do the shopping, and that shopping is used by everybody. Even the next son who's living next door comes and takes the grocery from the parents' house. Do I want my daughter to be contributing towards that? I'm not sure. So finances, we really have to be, everybody has to discuss finances before they get married, but nobody does discuss the finances before they get married, because they always say, oh, Baji, if we start discussing that, the
yeah,
Firish नहीं
exactly.
होएगा.
That's the one point we
Mhm,
need to change here, like finances,
mhm,
and in that finances, like first you want the dowry from the girl, then you want the money from the girl, then that girl come and do everything, and the vice versa. I will say that if you are not working,
mhm,
right? If you are not working, if you are not participating, but you are wanting that over the edge, like the fairyland fairy tale treatment from a husband who has the responsibility of the sibling or the family back home or in where he is living, and you are not working, you are not participating in your together money pot, but
mhm,
you want extra. to be being pampered and neglecting the other things, that is also the problem,
Mm-hmm.
right? The balance and finding the right balance is important. And how you're going to find that balance is
Mm-hmm.
comes from the values which you have, personal values as an a person, as a boy or the girl, and as in a family, what are the values? And the values are which we can say that, the things you lived by,
Mm-hmm.
which
Okay.
makes, which
Uh,
is your negotiating part. So I
mm-hmm.
will separate here that the finances part in a really a cute candy wrapper, right? If you love someone, you compromise on everything,
Mm-hmm.
you leave everything. That's a love marriage, you like it.
It,
And when you
only
don't
at the
have the love
beginning.
marriage,
Only at the
then you at
beginning you're going
least
to
have,
compromise with everything.
yeah, when you don't have the love marriage and you are having the arranged marriage, and
Yeah. Then you're not.
you don't want to compromise at all.
Yeah. Even with the love marriage, people are not going to compromise. At the beginning, you're going
At
to
the
take it
beginning,
all.
yes.
You're going to
You
take it all.
ignore
You're going to keep
everything. You
quiet. It's going
ignore
to be okay.
everything.
But you
Yeah,
will be bitter. You will be bitter about it, and that
yeah,
bitterness will start coming through.
exactly. So that's
Mm.
why we are here to tell you,
Mhm.
girls, boys, and the parents,
Mhm.
be clear about your values so you can know where to say no and where to say yes, and
Yeah.
how to say yes and no.
Mhm.
That's very important
It,
before the marriage and after the marriage.
alhamdulillah. Okay.
That is our end of our today's episode. Or
Today's session. So
is
I've
there anything last we are going to say?
I'm
To this
ready
recap.
to say everybody, thank you for joining. What we'll do is we'll stop recording and then see if anybody's got any questions.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
so
Thank
okay.
you very much, everyone, for joining us today. Keep looking the space for more videos and the things. And next week we are come with a new episode with a new topic. Take care. Bye bye.
Inshallah. Bye.